Hi everyone, this is Tolec for the Andromeda Council, Transformational Shift Events, and Sedona Close Encounters. Today is Friday, October 12th, 2018. I am honored and blessed to have with me today a friend of mine in what is a teaser conversation as a preliminary to his speaking event next Friday on October the 19th at our monthly Sedona Close Encounters meeting. So this gentleman, StandswithBear, is an accomplished lifetime musician and composer. He's been voted by his peers, fellow native flautists, as one of the top 10 native flute players in the country. He's a two-time nominee of the Native E Music Awards for Best Instrumental of the Year and Best Creative Vision category. In 2011, he was accepted and embraced by a number of elder medicine men and grandmothers, Zuni, Hopi, Lakota, Aztec, a number of them from around the world in the greater Sedona area on what was a very special Earth Day. He's also a galactic ambassador. Please welcome my friend, StandswithBear. How are you, my friend?
Brother Tolec, so good to be here with you.
There are so many things, so many aspects of your life that make you special. But I'd like to talk a little bit about that day back in 2011 with all of those elders, all those native elders, those medicine men, those grandmothers. And what was it like for you that day out on that mesa?
Well, thank you. I just want to interject for a moment. I feel that each one of us inside have that special something about us. And through our life and through everything that we go through in our life, we're slowly peeling away the layers of the onion until we find that certain special thing that we all carry. Each one of us came here to do certain things, whether it be a job, whether just to have a human experience, whether to help create the new world. Each person has their own divine reason for being here.
Right.
So I appreciate what you said with that. You know, when that day happened and I was up on the mesa there, it was, man, it was very surreal. It felt like I was in a movie, like a director went, and action. Because the magic that happened that day, I'm still, after all these years, shaking my head going, what? Because it was like, I just went out there to play flute. That was
right. So you were invited by the elders to play flute on that day, and there they are in a circle, because I've seen video footage of this event.
See, here's the interesting thing. I wasn't invited by the elders. I was invited by spirit. And things happened that were very transformational before the event. Before the event, a little sis of mine, you know, that I've known for years, I always call her my little sis. She was talking to a friend of hers and at a local coffee shop, and she just mentioned to her, you know, StandswithBear is about to become one of the world elders. And she's like, oh, really? And I had no, you know, knowing of the conversation that the two of them had prior to me going out there. So like they foresaw this, which I thought was really profound. And then some other profound things happened. Of course, at the event that I speak at, I'll speak more in detail about this. But it was very surreal, very powerful. And I was definitely felt very honored to be a part of it.
What was it like when that actual moment transpired where you really felt different? Because there they are around you. You had finished playing your flute.
You know, after I finished playing my flute, the grandmothers are like, hey, could you play some more? You're pretty good.
That's great.
Well, I thought that was awesome that they said that. So I played some more for them and they danced, you know. So it was a very special thing for me. You know, I've had a myriad of these amazing adventures have happened to me my whole life. It started when I was 3. And I'll talk a little bit about that. Like a lot of the UFO contacts I've had and the beings that have been with me since I was a child, I have not told really anybody about it. Not a whole lot of people.
Well, then family next Friday night should be interesting.
Yeah, all my siblings, my mother, my father, I never told any of them about it. Because, you know, I was raised redneck, cowboy, Catholic construction. And so I know no support system whatsoever. So I had to learn later on after the fact about who I was. But the one constant that continuously followed me is all these magical things that kept happening that I'm not so sure they happen to just everybody all the time. I mean, there's so many of them that if I was to put it in a book, it'd go right on the fiction shelf. Nobody would believe it. Well, and even after that day with the elders, I have to be honest, you know, while the whole thing was happening and when the grandmothers had me drink from the sacred vase that they had me drink from, which was like initiation kind of ceremony, I was clueless the whole time. I did not realize until after the fact of what had transpired, you know, and still, like I said, to this day, my head just kind of reels from it going, wow, that just happened, you know? So.
Wow. Well, I can certainly say that from firsthand experience, you were not only embraced back then, but you were embraced not 3 or 4 days ago, but the weekend prior at our conference when you played. Right. And you received an incredible round of applause from the 157, 8 people in the room that day. It was very quiet in there while you were playing. You certainly had their attention.
Well, that's a good thing. I always say that I put the flute to my lips and the breath of God comes out. That's how I play. That's what I do. You know, as a musician, I can't read a note to save my life. Everything I do is through my ear, through vibration, through frequency.
I understand.
A lot of channeling that comes through.
Yeah.
It's kind of comical because I have all these songs I played for years, right? But because when I first created them, they were channeled through me. So oftentimes I play it differently than what you hear on the CD. It's similar, but it's different because it's like I channeled that at that time. So it's kind of comical when people are like, hey, could you play this one song? And I kind of like move over to the side and go, how's that go again? Okay.
Oh yeah, that one, right? Yeah.
So, but I think what happens is when I have an audience like that, when I have a very large audience I'm playing for, the magical thing that happens is my guides kind of tap into the energy of the moment and all those different beings that are there and the frequencies that come through and the energy of my playing that comes through literally weaves a tapestry of magic in the room.
Yeah. You know? Well, it's the Creative Life Center has its own unique energy, you know, situated up on Schnebly Hill in Sedona. And the energy in that room that day was, as it normally is, pretty high. But it's a great venue. It's an intimate setting, you know, in terms of a venue for a musical event. It's a wonderful setting because everybody's there right in front of you. You know, you can look at them and see their eyes as you're up there playing.
Yep.
And you definitely had their attention.
You know, I played there several times. Your audience may not know, but we have every year an event called the Sedona Cosmic Awakening. The couple years ago, we had Corey Good. He was the main speaker over there.
Right.
The next year was Grandfather, Golden Light Eagle was there. And several of our Native brothers and sisters were there. So,
yeah, Clifford has spoken there a couple times. Yeah.
My brother Clifford was there, and this coming year is going to be very powerful. You guys are going to be blown away when you find out who's coming. I'm not saying a word, but yeah, you're going to be blown away.
Well, I'd rather talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing, at least what we're planning.
Absolutely.
With probably in early 2019 with you and Arvel Kickingbird, who is an accomplished flautist and musician.
Well,
And if we get our brother Mickey Free off the road, maybe he can join you as well.
I think Arvo would laugh that you called him Arvo Kicking Bird. I've always known him as just Arvo Bird.
Yeah, he probably would laugh.
Yeah, I would really love to make that match happen, because I think that would be something spectacular. You know, three musicians, all very good at their craft or what they do. So
Yeah.
I've been told.
You know, I was just recently introduced to William Eaton, and he's on the board of the Sedona. Sorry, I apologize. The Cottonwood Arts Council.
Yeah, and I believe, if I remember correctly, he owns the main stage in Cottonwood, which would be a really good place to have the event.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be awesome if we could bring him in as well, because he has played with a number of people, very accomplished musicians over the year,
including Carlos Nakai.
That's correct. That was the first time I heard him, when he was playing with Nakai.
He's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So speaking about music and shifting gears slightly, you go way back. You're from what you've told me, you're to use the phrase, an old rocker from way back. Why don't you share with people a little bit about those experiences in your life? You know, what did you do? Who'd you play with? When did you tour?
I am probably you know, showing my age on this one, but I actually, you know, I'm a vocalist by trade, and that's what I did back in the day. You know, I think in 78, I believe it was, when I was in ninth grade, I had my first band in Flagstaff. And, you know, I took to it like a fish to water, and I never looked back. And I played in rock bands all the way from 78 all the way up till, you know, well, actually 4 years ago, had one of the top bands at Venus called Mad Hatter.
Wow.
And we were like a glam rock, Motley Crue-ish kind of band. And 4 years ago, we had a 25-year reunion, which is pretty amazing. And still, after 25 years, over 200 people showed up. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Good for you. That's cool.
But what shocked me is I still have, I can actually sing better than I did before. So, you know, I'm much older now, but I can still keep up with the 20-something-year-olds, you know. And so if you'd have told me back then, you know, Tolec, 25 some odd years ago, that I would be doing the music I'm doing today, that I'd be creating what I'm doing today with the instrument that I've gotten very efficient at, the native flute, I'd have told you to roll it up and smoke another one.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that was actually going to be my next question. It's a natural segue. How would you classify, if that's an appropriate term, how would you classify the native flute music that you play today? You told me that it was given its own unique category.
When I was at the Native Music Awards, the owner, he loved my music so much. He's the one that's, you know, he paid for all my submissions and everything. And what a lot of people don't know is when a musician goes to the Native American Music Awards or Native Music Awards, or any awards really, you have to pay to put your song in there to even get a chance to be nominated, right? So right off the bat, I thought it was kind of cool that he paid for all my submissions because he believed in me that much. And this is when I was, you know, I was playing around, but I wasn't known like I am now. And so they called me back about a week later, and they says, you know, StandswithBear, we can't find a category to put you in. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He says, you don't sound like anyone we've ever heard. You don't sound like Carlos Nakai or Mary Youngblood, or, you know, they gave me a huge list of all these well-known artists have been doing it for years and years. And I thought it was kind of cool. They put me in, you know, up with those guys. That was nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So we're going to give your own genre. And I was like, okay, that's cool. What's the genre? And they called it Native Edge, which is perfect for what I do, you know, because I've been told my stuff is kind of a cross between Enigma, Yanni, Native Flute.
Oh, yeah.
My new CD, My Beautiful Light Star, my beloved, she just gave me the most incredible title for the genre that should be put into. You never heard of this genre, but I promise you this is going to be a genre called Cosmic Groove.
That's pretty good.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. You know, what you were just telling me, and I know that we're going to be collaborating on some future projects, but maybe what we ought to do here, maybe we ought to establish today a future event that we do annually, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase it. Maybe we create our own Sedona Native Music Festival, and we do
I cannot even begin to tell you how many people
every year.
Will be all over that. I mean, this place, Sedona, deserves to have an event like that. What better place than here to have an event like that? You know, to honor. It's one thing to honor, you know, the Native culture and that in stores with all the nice jewelry and everything that we have here. But it's a whole different animal when you honor the music and you know, the culture and the people and all of that.
And we can do it here because we have to us, you know, the north of us, Hopi, Diné, Navajo, the whole Red House family, very, very talented, lives down in Tucson.
Down by Phoenix, you have the Apache, you have Zuni.
That's right. But Carlos Nakai lives in Tucson.
Yes.
We could have Carlos come up. I know that one of the Red House brothers is a very accomplished native flautist. We have a wealth of some of the best native players in the country here.
The whole entire Red House family are incredibly talented. Yeah. Each one of them, you know, brings something to the table.
So if we can bring Carlos Nakai up, we have you involved, we have Arville, the Red House family. What an event.
You know, the photographer that did my promo pictures a few years ago, her name is Nancy Smith. Total sweetheart, phenomenal photographer. She has literally become the photographer for all musicians and Native brothers and sisters. I mean, she's at so many different powwows and events, and she's good friends with the whole Red House family. So,
talk to her, reach out to her, and see if she could help with this collaboration. You know, and involve and get her involved. I'm sure she'd love it.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. So listen, would you be happy to share with people while I've got you some of the ideas of some of the topics you'll likely address next week? Just some snippets of what you think you'll touch on.
Well, Tolec, when I usually do speaking engagements, for me, it's always empowerment. I love to empower others. You know, I've always said, like in my sessions, I like to create superheroes. This is going to go out and create other superheroes, and so on and so on and so on. I mean, literally, that's how you change. You know, we're not even here to change the world. We're here to create the new world. Well, how do you do that? You find others that want to do that as well.
Right.
And then you do exactly that, create the new world, and then everyone just gravitates over to what you've just created. See what I'm saying? So some of the topics will be obviously about empowerment, but also, spoiler alert, I hear for you.
Yeah.
I've never told anybody some of the experiences that I would share about, you know, some of the UFO encounters, or not even UFO encounters, more.
Yeah, contact.
You know how you have abductees, right? There's a really big difference. There's three factions. There's abductees, there's contactees, and then there's experiencers.
Right. Okay? I'm familiar with those terms. Keep going.
So the abductees were taken against their will, and usually for nefarious reasons. Not always so. And I'll talk a little bit about that, about what happened to me at the Angels and Aliens conference in Ohio when I was speaking out there. And actually, Grandfather Golden Eyed Eagle was there. He was one of the speakers there. And I got to play with my favorite flute player on the planet, Douglas Bluefeather. I got to perform.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That was amazing. But I'll talk a little bit more about that, because I have a different viewpoint about abductions than most people do, okay? So then there's contactees, the ones who's been contacted throughout their life and had experiences with them and that. But I believe the experiencers are the ones who've been with them throughout their whole life. The contacts would be sporadically through their life. The experiencers have had them through their whole life, through many different experiences. And sometimes they don't even remember them. You know, I've always said, you know, you must be a pretty profound person if, you know, your life is so top secret, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. And then of course, other times there are little significant signs, if you will, nuances that come across your path
well,
on
absolutely.
an hour-by-hour, day-by-day basis. If you're not you, but the parenthetical you, if you're awake enough and you pay attention to these
it's
little
just like
nuances in
deja
life.
vu.
Right.
You know what that is, right? Deja vu is simply markers
That's
that were
right.
given to you to show you that you're on the right track, that you're on the right path. When
Yep.
you have those deja vu moments, it's like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm doing, because like you're like, I've seen this before. And so that's my personal belief, that they're markers that show you're on the right path, that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And then last spoiler alert, you're going to play your flute.
But of course.
You're going to play.
Yeah, I'll be playing some of my music as well as some stuff from my brand new CD, which I will have available there at the event.
Oh, good. I was going to ask you if you're going to bring them for sale.
Absolutely.
Good.
And
Okay.
the new CD is called Galactic Odyssey. And it's a new foray into what I've done in the past. I've always done like, you know, native music combined with like a enigmish kind of background.
Sure.
But this particular one, it shows off my composing skills, so to speak. Like I think there's maybe 3, perhaps 4 songs that actually have native flute in it, but the rest is orchestration. It's literally takes you on a journey. Like I have my one song, my very first song on the CD called Beyond Imagination, which it sounds very Disney-esque, and it moves right into like something from Avatar. You know, it just.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's my music, when I create it, some of the tracks have up to like 40 to 50 tracks. And people are like, well, that's ridiculous. Why do you have so many?
Yeah, that's a lot of layers.
They don't understand that's exactly what I do is I layer my music. I actually have had clients come to me and people that are fans going, how is it I can listen to your CD? And all of a sudden I heard something completely different I didn't hear before. How's that possible? And I said, because I create in harmonic resonance, in frequencies. So when you're at that vibrational frequency and at that level, you're going to hear a whole different layer to the music that you didn't hear before. Because remember, I told you, I channel my music when I play, when I perform, and when I create in the studio. So what's coming through is literally, it's a God thing. I can't, you know, I said this at our last event with you. I kind of look at it as like when I create my music and when it's all said and done, little Keebler elf comes over and sprinkles the magic dust on it, and then it becomes what it does.
That's good.
So that's the best way I could describe it. But
that's great.
It definitely has. Well, you saw the audience reaction.
Yeah, you clearly reached a lot of hearts and souls in that audience that day.
And that's what I do. That's what I love doing.
Yeah. Alrighty, so Stands with Bear will be our special guest speaker for Sedona Close Encounters, which will be held as we do so every month at the Sedona Community Center off of Melody Lane in West Sedona. We start at 7 p.m. and people will be blessed to be able to hear you speak and play over the course of 2 hours. So next Friday night, October the 19th, you'll get treated with Stands with Bear. Sir, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
I just want to interject real quick and tell your audience, I'm honored to play for you all. I'm honored to speak with you all. And there's a lot of great things that are going to be brought to the table that weekend. So you don't want to miss this. And I'll see you all there. Bless.
All right. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you in 1 week.
All right, brother. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Good night.